Hello everyone, and welcome back to Mecha Rewatch. It is I, Cossak and with me as always is Lawn Dragon.
Hank.
We have a lot to unpack here.
A lot
to unpack. So much to unpack.
And so many better ways this show could have gone.
Yeah.
There's hints of brilliance. There's such cool ideas that are just kind of thrown away. And
we'll go over this maybe a little bit more when we cover the last episode, but
yeah,
we don't think this show is good.
No, it's not.
We've come to the conclusion here in the last 14-ish episodes that this show is not good.
Which, I mean, it's funny because it's better than it used to be, but now it's obvious that it's not good.
Mm-hmm.
Because now that it's in the home stretch, it's much more obvious that it's not going anywhere, or that it's not going to places that are good, right?
Mm-hmm.
That at the start you can be like, okay, this is haphazard and kind of weird, but the show is finding its feet. Maybe it's going somewhere excellent, and no, it's not. It's really just not.
It really does make me want to read the new manga for it that is apparently kind of almost a total rewrite of the series.
Might be better.
Yeah, because I want to know if it's more coherently written.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at this point, even the incoherent writing, yes, that's bad, but it's not. What's bothering me more is just that the actual conclusions the show is drawing are not good.
No.
And not good in the, I don't agree with them way, but good in the, it's just not good television.
It's not. So, we start with the opening blurb here in episode 36. And
this opening blurb has been with us for a little while.
Yeah, it's been with us for 3 or 4 episodes. I think we'll be now.
Is it going to be with us for the rest of the show? Or are we going to get another?
I think we get one more blurb.
Okay, because this one's the worst one.
I think we get another blurb after episode 37. I think episode 38 starts a new blurb because of the events of episode 37.
Right, that makes sense. But this episode, this intro sucks because it is the epitome of just the intro is wrong about what's going on in the show.
Mm-hmm.
Because it mainly focuses around explaining the Zero System, which is important, right? It's a fundamental part of the show. It's the focus of these episodes, the pilots fighting with the Zero System. But it explains it incorrectly.
Yeah.
It starts out from a good place. It says, okay, it feeds them data about, combat analytics at a massive rate and tells them how to win. That part's correct.
Yeah.
But then it says that this will cause them to not care for their own life. And it's that is just straight up not what it does and not the problem.
Yeah.
Right? And the problem is that what the Zero System does for the pilot is not the focus of the episode.
No.
What the Zero System does to the pilot is the important part of the episode, and it just explains it badly. It's just wrong. It not even explains it badly, it's wrong.
It's not the point of this episode, but it is the point of the opening blurb, and it's not reaching that.
But this whole set of episodes is about the Zero System and the effect that it has on the pilots, right? And, it's just wrong. Nothing about this has anything to do with them caring about their own lives. That's just a total red herring. It's about the fact that it makes them fight people they shouldn't fight and see everyone as their enemy. That's what it does. That's the problem with the Zero System.
Yeah, the biggest problem with the Zero System is that Protocol 3 protect the pilots too hard.
It's not even protect the pilot, it's win the fight.
Well, yeah. I guess it's Protocol 1's too hard.
Yeah, it's I have an objective and I achieve it. But it doesn't even do that well, because it will destroy its own objective to win.
Yeah, it's...
Right, as we saw with Zex and it shooting his own ship. Right.
Once again, we see why the doctors never actually intended to implement this system.
We see why the two that have been built were built by a grief-stricken child and a madman.
Yeah.
Right?
yeah. And rest assured, Trace is a bad man.
Oh, yeah. But, you have to be insane to build this system.
Yeah.
And that's not bad television. You know what? Honestly, if the whole show was about this and it was presented well, that'd probably be a really good show.
Oh, yeah.
But the Zero System showed up, 10 episodes ago?
Yeah, it showed up in, like, the last...
It's in the second half of the show, for sure.
Yeah, in, like, the last quarter of the show.
Yeah.
Or last third of the show.
It will be with us for the rest of the show.
And more suits will have it.
Right, but, like, the conflict with it is not gonna be with us for the rest of the show.
No.
Which is also a problem. Like, it sets up this thesis of, like, this is a bad idea, but then it just starts working. It's just like, sure, this is whatever. In this episode, in fact, it kind of, like, just sort of works. I mean, there's a little bit...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
We'll get into that, but it is, like... Again, part of what's so bad about this show is that it has glimmers of what could be a really good show.
Yeah.
Right.
So, we start with a gathering of insurgents who are discussing their like, whether or not they should ally with... Because these guys are Trace Faction guys.
Yes, and they're discussing... Are they Trace Faction guys, or are they Earth Rebels?
No, they're Trace Faction. Well, Duo's not on Earth.
Oh, yeah. So they must be Trace Faction.
Yeah, they're Well, Trace Faction's on Earth, too.
Oh, they're Colonial Rebels. Who cares?
They're rebels. They're discussing whether or not they should try and bring in Alliance remnants.
Yes.
Wow, are there still Alliance remnants?
There always are. This show consistently shows the Alliance... Well, because their big space station thing didn't get destroyed, so they must still be around.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we haven't seen that space station in ages. Who knows what happened to it? All we know is that they missed with the giant cannon and never fired at it again.
Yeah. Duo's there.
Yes. It makes some salient points.
Yeah, because Duo points out to them, that's cool and all, this discussion, but until you have a concrete plan for what you're going to do after we win...
And this scene is another one that in a different show would be good. If this was a political thriller about a revolution, this is a good scene. Because these are very real problems that revolutions have, right? Should we ally with former enemies to accomplish our objective is a very real question, right? And Duo's point of, until you know what the world looks like after you win, your revolution is pointless, is a really salient point. That would be a great scene in, like, a political thriller about a revolution. That's not what this show is.
No.
That's not what this show is at all. This scene is mostly pointless.
This show tries to have its cake and eat it, too. It tries to be too many things.
Yes, it tries to be way too many things.
In reality, that's what the problem with this show is it's trying to be, like, 4 different shows.
Yeah, and it doesn't do any of them competently. It has little bits that are competent. But none of them are performed competently throughout.
If something like this story were attempted today, with what kind of creators know now about how to do this kind of stuff,
correct,
it would be 4 separate anime that all take place in the same universe around the same time.
Well, it would be that, or it would just be 4 seasons of the same show, each one focusing on one of these things.
Yeah, something like that. And then, like, the last season would be bringing it all together.
Yeah, and they wouldn't even have to necessarily be simultaneous, right? You would just get them concentrated, and they would be better, right?
Yeah.
So, like, maybe the first season would be about this zero system and that this guy has, and it drives him crazy while he fights, and that would be our first season.
Yeah,
right?
It would start with I think if we were to do the first season and keep most of the events...
Sure, if you're trying to keep the events in order.
Then what it would be is... Yeah, the first season would be, like, straight Mecha, right?
Yeah.
Where you're having Operation Meteor. You go through all that. You go through the Rise of Oz. But the Rise of Oz happens more in the background. And through that, you... Kind of with that in the background, you have the Gundam... Like, one of the Gundam pilots come across the Zero System in a desperation act.
I would even just have them start with it. Like, I would just introduce the Zero System earlier, make it a fundamental part of the show.
Yeah, that's another way to do it.
Right.
But anyway, Duo leaves the meeting, kind of in disgust, goes to talk with Hildy in a park. Remember Hildy? Yeah, she's here.
Been in the show pretty frequently, recently. Shows up like every other episode.
Yeah.
That's more than we can say for certain characters.
That's true.
We get a couple of... I mean, next episode will be like... Or this episode, actually, I think it is. It's like, oh, Zex, right, that guy.
Yeah. And they discuss a little, and Hildy's like, let's go do something fun. And then
so they're just like sitting in a park.
Yeah, and then Duo gets dragged away to go do something fun.
And they leave their dog, a dog.
The
dog from the outro. It is. It's the dog from the outro.
It's the dog from the outro. It also kind of reminds me of JPEG Dog from Ace Combat 7.
I mean, a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's the dog from the dog from the outro is in the show. It's got nothing to do with Relina. It's just in this park with Duo. But it's the dog from the outro.
And
maybe the rhino will show up too.
Yeah, we can dream.
Because the other animals are in the circus, right? Like
not all of them.
A lot of them. Like the lion is there, right? It's the same lion.
Yeah, the lion's there. There's no zebra. There's no giraffe.
No, there isn't.
There's no rhino.
Still, this is clearly a show about a circus that has been distracted for way too long.
Yeah. Yeah, I think if we were to do our, like, multi-season show idea, that's the other thing, is that the Gundam pilots would not be united and split up so many times.
No.
But anyway, we cut to Noin briefing Relina on, our nation is surrounded and about to be attacked.
Yeah, which...
we should maybe do something about that. I wish to open political dialogues. Relina, I think we're past that point.
Yeah.
Then we cut, after that kind of quick briefing...
this is... Sorry. I have another issue with this show.
Yeah.
Which is that we are retreading character development that already happened. Relina has already had this conflict about whether or not to, like, fight in defense of her kingdom. We had that. We got done with it. She agreed. Why are we retreading this?
Also...
why has she regressed as a character?
Well, notably, she's gonna retread this later in the movie, too, I think.
Yeah, she is. But also, why is she wearing her stupid school uniform?
Well, we figured out why.
Well, we did discuss this, but it's just the audience doesn't understand yet that we have an issue. So she's still wearing this school uniform for a school she doesn't go to anymore, right?
Well,
that she's also adopted for her school, so sure. But also, she runs that school. She's not in it, so why? But what we figured out is that what we surmise is that it is much easier to animate than her very fancy diplomatic, like, leader outfit.
It's just easier to draw, and there's less detail on it.
We think, we would have to go over every episode to confirm this, which we don't want to do. We're going to watch the show again. We think that the episodes because notably it's her and Noin have very fancy outfits, are episodes where there is no combat. Because the animators can only do they only have time to do one or the other, right? This is back in, like, the 90s. Animation is expensive. Animation time is limited. They have to go fast, right? And so we can either animate these cool fights or these fancy outfits, not both.
It's more draw these fancy outfits, because they don't really move very much. It's not hard to draw something stationary. But
it's still, they're so much more detailed. They have so many more bits on them.
And that's what I mean by harder to draw, not harder to animate.
Oh, but it's the same with combat, right? All these mechs have, like, lots of little gribbly bits on them, and they're colorful and stuff, right?
Yeah. No, I'm not disagreeing with you.
It's the guy who does one does the other, right? Like,
yeah, and that will be borne out in both of these episodes.
Yep,
that theory
sure will.
So then we cut to Ketra.
There's a lot of fighting in these episodes
happening upon the Magwanaut Corps in the middle of a fight. And how long has the Magwanaut Corps been fighting for? We don't know, because the show
has no sense of time.
Yeah. This apparently all happens in a year.
Wait, is that the official timeline?
Yes. Because it starts after Colony 195 at the very beginning. And it is still after Colony 195 right now.
It doesn't make any sense, but okay.
Yeah, this is stuff that should have taken place over 2 or 3 years.
At least. Also, especially all the space stuff. Look, space travel takes time.
And spooling up machining facilities to build a completely new weapon system takes time.
Multiple new weapon systems.
Yeah, in a short span of time.
I mean, so Ketra not only, like, built Wing Zero in a cave with a box of scraps, but he did it in, like, what, a day? Like,
must have. Like, a couple days tops.
Yeah. Same thing with... They are building a giant battleship. giant battleships do not get built in short amounts of time.
Giant battleships get built literally in years. It's measured in years.
Decades!
Sometimes,
right?
Yeah.
Because this is like the biggest battleship ever, right? It's
this
massive.
Is effectively, this thing is more battle station than battleship.
Right, it actually kind of compares pretty favorably to some of the colonies in size, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, it a year is insane for all of this.
Yeah, and considering the timeline, that would mean that this battleship is going to get built in months. Less than months. Maybe a month.
Yeah, which also, I mean, I guess that does lend credence to the thing that will happen in the next episode, where the colonies complain that, like, all of their resources and, like, manpower have been drained by Romefeller. Well, yeah, I mean, I guess the way you build a giant battleship in a month is just, like, well, millions of slaves died to construct this edifice, right?
Yeah.
That is how you get that done.
And, like,
they've Qatar'd them.
So, Ketra happens upon the Magwanaut Corps fighting mobile dolls.
Doing better against mobile dolls than we have ever seen anyone in standard mobile suits do.
Yeah.
They're still not winning. They're still not even inflicting damage.
But they're also not receiving heavy casualties at an absurd rate either.
Right, a couple of guys die. But they are holding the line in a way that we have seen. Everyone else just gets wiped out by these things, right? Utterly wiped out.
In seconds.
Yeah. And the mobile dolls, like, advance slowly, and there are breaks in combat, presumably because they're smart enough to know that if they do just rush them, they will actually take losses. I assume that's what's going on there. They have to keep their shield up, or whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Unlike everybody else, where they can just do whatever.
They are in the desert, and those cannons they have apparently generate a lot of heat. It's possible that they're dissipating heat.
They shoot those cannons pretty fast in this scene, though. I like that theory. It's a good theory. If it was borne out in the show, this would be a better show. But, that's... Sure.
I don't know. It's just a theory.
A game theory. Oh, okay.
Well, look, I don't want to give Matt Pat too much credit.
Fair enough.
Ketra gets in his Gundam, kicks a bunch of ass, clean shot.
Oh, yeah. Here. Well, they're fighting, they're losing, and this guy is like, oh, there's something, like, in my peripheral vision. Quick, zoom, enhance. Oh my god, it's Master Ketra!
Yeah, and it's Ketra just running at them in the middle of the combat.
Remember, he's on foot, running through the desert, and he's like, hi, guys!
I'm here!
Literally, at no point does a mobile doll just be like, target detected, and blow them away.
Yeah. Well, and notably, because they're like...
And this is where the lulls in the fighting, too, right? Because they, like, the fighting stops, and the guy gets out of his mech, and is like, hi, Ketra, we got Sandrock ready for you. And he's like, yeah, that's why I'm here.
Yeah, that's literally why I'm here.
And they're like, sick.
We actually kind of cut back to the enemy commander, because there's still humans on the battlefield that are coordinating the mobile dolls.
There's also just humans in mechs.
Yeah, well, I think the humans in mechs are the ones coordinating the mobile dolls.
Sure.
I don't know why they have it set up that way.
Nope.
They have it set up differently later.
Yeah, because later they're commanded from, like, a carrier, which makes a little more sense.
Well, they're not just commanded from a carrier, they're also commanded from, like, what I assume is, like, some kind of AWACS.
Well, no, that's what I mean. It's because it's the carrier plane that they use the...
Yeah. I thought you were talking about the other mobile dolls.
Oh, you're right. There are other mobile dolls from an aircraft carrier, which is different. From the carrier that this show uses.
Well, you can command mobile dolls from a variety of platforms, as it turns out.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, very soon you can't command mobile dolls from any platform. But that's... spoilers.
So Ketra gets in his Gundam, and... we cut to the guy who's coordinating the mobile dolls, and his lieutenant's like, "Sir, we're getting a new reading."
Oh my god, it's a Gundam! I thought all the Gundams were accounted for. No,
not even close.
Well, I guess because they think Sandrock's destroyed.
They do.
So, wait, no, because they recovered it.
Yeah,
and it was stolen. They should know Sandrock is unaccounted for.
It was in a wrecked state when they had it recovered.
Right, but I mean, they know that it was. Like, they are aware that they had it at a base, and that it was taken by enemy forces.
Yes. But at
that point, you put it on the unaccounted for list.
Yes.
Right?
But what I'm assuming happened, even though that would be stupid, but we've seen militaries in real life do stupider shit, which is, they said, they said, well, they took it, but they're like a small insurgent force. They don't have the resources.
Obviously, they can't fix it.
Yeah, to fix a Gundam.
Despite the fact that apparently the parts for Gundams are very easily acquired.
Yeah,
right. Because there's 3 or 4 times in this show where someone just basically gets random Radio Shack parts to fix their Gundam.
Yeah,
right. They're apparently very, which you would, if you're sending them down solo to fight an entire planet, is a thing you would want to design in. Yeah. Good on the scientists for making them you want logistically repairable.
Yeah. No, it's very interesting how the Gundams are simultaneously the cutting edge of mobile suit technology, but also the most reparable mobile suits in the entire series.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, they're the Sherman, right? They're the pinnacle of technology, both capability wise and logistically. Yeah.
That's true, and there's a really good scene here where there's 2 mobile dolls. There's a bunch of dust kicked up after a barrage from the mobile dolls.
Yeah.
And then you see 2 mobile dolls just get cut in half, quick flashes. And then you just see the silhouette of Sandrock.
It mirrors the scene. Remember the scene we had a few episodes ago where the mobile dolls did this, where there's a big explosion and then their eyes glowed in the dust, and they killed everybody? This happens, but the Magwanaut Corps does it to the...
Sandrock and the Magwanaut Corps.
Sandrock. Yeah, it's mostly Sandrock. Let's be honest here. It's mostly Sandrock. But, the Magwanaut Corps is there.
And they win.
The mobile dolls get wiped out, and then these commander guys, who are in, Leos or whatever, are it's a Gundam, and they just wiped out all the mobile dolls. Well, let's, keep fighting.
And then they die.
But, man, if I was any of these normal people, and I watched the super invincible robots get wrecked by a Gundam, I'm leaving or surrendering. Either one. I don't care which one, but I'm doing one of those 2. I'm not obviously the solution is bonsai charge.
Yeah. So we cut to the circus with Duo and Hildy.
Yeah, apparently somewhere fun that they decided to go was the circus. Convenient.
Yeah. Circuses can be fun.
Hildy is a giant mark.
Hildy is a huge mark.
It's very funny.
Duo should take Hildy to some pro wrestling shows.
Yeah, she'd love it.
Yeah. Hildy would be
a big fan of the Big Show.
Yeah. Hildy watches WrestleMania every year.
Absolutely. Space WrestleMania,
Yes, yeah.
They've moved the squared circle into zero gravity. It's very entertaining.
Yeah. And suddenly, a wild Troa appears.
Yeah, he's doing a lion tamer type routine. It's not really tamer, it's lion avoider routine.
Yeah, he jumps on the back of the lion and stands on it one-handed. He's on one hand.
He rides it with one hand. He does a handstand while a lion runs around.
A single-handed handstand, which is impressive. But we've seen Troa do ridiculous feats of acrobatics before.
Right. And Duo's looks like Troa. It's weird. And then rushes backstage. And it is Troa. And he's like, hey, Troa, buddy.
Because he doesn't know that Troa's amnesiac right now.
Yeah. Well, specifically, he's like, where are the others? Do you know anything? And Troa in this, monotone is just I don't know what you're talking about.
No, Troa's, having kind of a break. He doesn't say very much at all. He's like, and he, doesn't know how to react to this at all.
But anyway, yeah.
And Catherine jumps in.
Catherine is go away. Go away, you stupid priest. She doesn't call him priest. She should, because he looks like a priest. But
yeah, she's
go away. Troa's not fighting anymore. She's you must be one of his comrades from, prior, but go away.
Yeah.
Does not explain that he has amnesia.
No. Which is funny, because of all the Gundam pilots, if she had said that to Duo would have been oh, alright, fair enough.
Alright, yeah, fair enough. But she doesn't.
No, because Wu Fei would have been who cares if you have amnesia? You have power and you must fight.
Wu Fei would have been you were not strong enough to defeat amnesia.
Right, yeah, you were not strong
Why
enough.
have you not already committed Sudoku?
Ketro would be desperately trying to get old Troa back.
Yeah, he would be like, he would like pull out the flute and be like, remember when we played beautiful music together? That'll probably work.
Yeah, and then Hiro would have...
Hiro would be like, we haven't really interacted that much, to be honest. Who are you?
Like, I think we hung out at your, like, circus once after I self-detonated.
Also, we went together to Zex's Arctic base. And we actually spent a fair bit of time together.
Yeah, and also worked together when Tro was pretending to work for Oz.
Oh, that's true. Okay, fair enough. They do know each other pretty well.
Yeah, Hiro was at the battle that Troa got the amnesia, and Hiro would probably be...
Well, yes.
Hiro would probably leave, but he'd be like, he'd probably turn to Catherine and be like, it was my fault, I'm sorry.
That's true. He would blame himself. That's what Hiro would blame himself.
I will go self-detonate in reparations now.
Yeah, or something.
We cut from that to Duke Dermail and...
Wait, or he would be like, Troa is the only one of us to have finally achieved total pacifism.
Yeah. Yeah.
Turns out it just requires a lobotomy.
Yeah. And we cut to Duke Dermail, and it's funny because I briefly forgot the guy's name, so I wrote it down as Rutabaga. But it's too broad.
That's probably his, like, not code name. You know how they give, like, the president a, like, call sign?
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
That they all call him by?
He's Rutabaga 1.
He's Rutabaga 1. The Rutabaga is in the ground. I repeat, the Rutabaga is in the ground.
Yeah, Rutabaga is giving, like, kind of a briefing on how the battleship Libra is coming.
Yeah.
And Duke Dermail's like, well, you must hasten it. This will be the symbol of our power and might in the galaxy.
Yeah, we'll dissolve the Senate because fear will keep the other systems in line.
Basically.
Yeah, basically. Like, almost... I mean, Star Wars came out well before this. It totally possible it's intentional, like...
Well, the prequels didn't come out before this, though.
That's not from the prequels. It's from A New Hope.
Oh, is it? No.
Yes.
I don't remember. That all kind of blurs together to me. Anyhow... We then cut to Romefeller attacking the Saint Kingdom.
Yep.
And this is actually what the meat and potatoes of the episode is.
Yeah. This episode is called The Saint Kingdom Falls. They spoiled it slightly.
Well, I mean, they had a lot of... We talked about a lot of stuff leading up to this, but most of this episode is just Romefeller attacking the Saint Kingdom.
Yeah, it is. And they fight.
And yeah, Noin and Epion and, like...
Yeah, I mean, they lose. Like, it's just the Saint Kingdom loses. Like,
yeah, Ketra shows up. You think they're going to win at a couple points.
I mentioned this while we were watching it. In any other show, this would be the climactic battle. Everyone would get together. Like, this would be the end. Because even... Mm-hmm. Yeah, like...
Well, and in our theorized restructure...
Yeah.
This would be the final battle of a season.
Of a season, yes. This would be the final battle of a season, and the Saint Kingdom would, like... I mean, it might still lose, but it would be much more of a even fight.
It would be also much more of a... Like, it would be the entire episode instead of not the last 3/4 of it.
Right, and it would be... Yeah, it would be much more of a... But yeah, this is just they lose. They lose, but no one important dies. Which is...
Dorothy and Relina have a philosophical discussion that they've already had 2 times before that makes my head hurt.
Correct. Eyebrows is the worst. That's her call time, by the way.
Yeah.
It's just eyebrows 1. And yeah,
eyebrows galore.
She is trying to convince Relina to, like, call upon all her allies throughout the system to, like, come aid the Sanctum. Which, it's a little late for that. But it's also... I guess the idea is that if she calls all her allies to war... Well, from Eyebrows' perspective, she just likes that because she thinks war is hot. But from a more, like, geopolitical perspective, I think the idea is that, like, that will be a full commitment. Like, that will give Romefeller the enemy that they need to justify their actions, I think is the idea, right?
Yeah.
Yes, there's this grand alliance against us and we'll crush it. Which is what they want.
Because remember, Dorothy's on Romefeller's side right now.
She's Duke Dermail's daughter?
Granddaughter.
We ever get anything about the parents? Maybe it is Trey's.
I choose to believe that Dorothy's father is Trey's.
I can't imagine Trey is fathering a child is the problem. I think
we will find Trace's child much later.
It's true, we will. No, I choose to believe she's some sort of like clone of Trace. Like Duke Dermail decided to make himself a granddaughter as a clone of his favorite general, which is the exact kind of thing Duke Dermail would do.
Cloning is a thing in this universe. They don't mention it now,
is. But it is.
They don't mention it in Endless Waltz either, but you know what they do mention it in? Frozen Teardrop, the novel that came out after Endless Waltz.
Does it actually not come up in this show?
No.
I could have sworn it did.
No.
Okay.
Cloning doesn't come up at all in the actual animated stuff at all.
Huh.
No, the only time that cloning comes up in the series that I know about is one of the like, new generation in Frozen Teardrop, which is like 30 years after, is literally Ketra's clone. Because his dad created a clone of Ketra, not for like taking over if Ketra died, but more for spare parts for Ketra.
Right, sure.
So Ketra's dad, who was this, pacifist and blah, 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 turns out that not be... he's just as much as a dick as everybody else is in this show.
But I would totally believe that Duke Dermail would have an evil plot where he cloned his greatest general to make himself a granddaughter.
Oh, yeah. Honestly, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah. Again, in our rewrite of the show, that would just be a thing.
Yeah, there would be a whole scene where he gets her out of the tank and he goes, now, it is time for you to commence your mission,
He'll be like,
Dorothy.
Trace has, betrayed me, so you're gonna be like Trace 2.0.
Yeah.
More submissive and docile than the original Trace, right?
Right.
And then we would cut to, a room full of tanks. He has lots of extra Traces.
Yeah. Of, different types, but he'd be
But they all have weird eyebrows.
Yeah, you will... it would seem that Trace has betrayed us.
Yeah.
And so you will take his place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now come forth, my granddaughter.
That's kind of what he's going to try to do to Relina, actually.
He is, yes.
We'll get to that.
Yeah.
That's actually a pretty good scene. Back to this, she's trying to get her to call all her allies, and Relina's like, no, because I'm a pacifist, and I guess would rather die. There is an interesting bit where Eyebrows is like, well, if your kingdom is destroyed, the dream of total pacifism will, die forever. Which is objectively untrue, because the Scent Kingdom specifically has been destroyed before. It already happened once.
Yeah.
So that's just bad logic.
Well, and again, it's Dorothy attempting to use that logic to, try and force Relina into a corner where she starts this, endless guerrilla war.
Correct. Or just endless war.
Yeah.
Yeah.
War of some kind.
They just, they need an enemy so that they can take control, because it's easier to have control when you have someone to rally the people against.
See the current political situation in America.
Loads of different
historical
situations
history.
Yeah. This is not unreasonable.
No, this is not new.
It's weird how they're going about it.
Yeah.
Most countries would have just made an enemy up,
right?
They wouldn't try to convince the pacifist kingdom to attack them. They would just make an enemy up. Right?
Right. They'd either make an enemy up, or they would...
It would be an ethnic group, or a conspiracy, or whatever you want.
Well, and honestly, what they would probably do is be like, the colonies are our enemy.
Which is kind of what they tried to do.
Yeah, that's what they started doing, and then they kind of didn't.
Yeah, they were just kind of like, oh, that didn't, work.
It was really weird. Anyhow, Relina eventually there's this whole fight going. Relina waffles, and then finally Relina goes and makes this big speech and surrenders.
Well, she's it's more than that though, because she's like, patch me into
everything,
the universe, which apparently they could just do.
Yeah,
sure, whatever. And yeah, she makes this big speech, at the end of which she surrenders. Mm-hmm. Surrenders herself. No, wait, does not surrender her kingdom. Yeah. Surrenders herself.
Yeah, that's important. Dissolves her kingdom.
Yeah, technically dissolves the kingdom. But the point is that no one else involved in the kingdom, has to surrender or give up or get taken prisoner. Just her.
Yep.
Napoleon style.
Yeah.
She's gonna be exiled to Elba.
And then she will return, and the general sent to stop her will
convert to her side.
Yeah. Even after one of them,
we'll convert to her side because it'll be Noin. They'll send Noin to stop her.
Yeah, and Noin will be like, "I will bring Relina back in an iron cage," and then everyone will be like, it's Miss Relina.
And then
Noin will be like, I mean, I was going to anyway. Like, right. I was never going to do this stupid thing. But...
And then Relina will be defeated at Waterloo?
I mean, she could. Waterloo's on Earth.
That's true.
This is a much better story. I kind of want Napoleon Relina now.
But anyway, there are so many better things I could do with Relina's character.
Oh, yeah.
Relina is one of the most underused characters in this show.
And misused when she is used.
And misused when she is used. She could be a very interesting, very cool character, and she just isn't.
And in fact, in the next anime we cover, we will see...
Yes, has a much better space princess.
We will see a character that is much like Relina, who is just a better character.
A Salem Versalucia is Relina if Relina was a good character.
Yeah.
Like, straight up.
It's part of why we're doing El Noah Zero after this.
Right, because it has a lot of hallmarks that are similar to this show. It's got a lot of things that are different, too. But especially the first scene is actually very similar to this show. But anyway, yeah. She surrenders. And notably, we get a shot of Zex in space. Like, seeing this transmission and going, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck!
Not again, not again, not again!
Yeah.
Well, because, because you see the space battleship Peace Million, and then you see a little dot, and then
there's a little dot streaming
away.
Presumably the spaceship is faster than the mobile suit.
Yeah,
why would we carry them in spaceships if they weren't?
Yeah, but he is flying away, and he's literally basically doing the equivalent of oh fuck, oh shit, no.
Yeah, that is literally
as the speech is going on in the background of his cockpit. He's like no, you can't do that. No.
Presumably, so I know that this show plays havoc with the idea of time and space, but again, in a good show, he would be watching this on delay well after it's happened because he's out in space, right?
Well, and we'll see that he gets there way too late.
But not as late as he ought to.
No.
Given that he's out in space.
No.
He is going to go, like...
He's zipping down to try and do something.
Right, it turns out faffing about in space was, like, a waste of his time.
Yeah, and Ketra and Noin are preparing to go the opposite direction and go to space. Because Noin asks Ketra, she says, hey, Ketra, will you go to space with me?
It's a weird way to ask me out on a date, but sure.
Ketra's like, I didn't know that, like, we had any sort of...
No, sorry, I'm into... I'm into a different man.
But he might still be in space, so we'll go.
Yeah.
So we'll go. Good stuff. And that brings us to episode 37.
Oh, sorry. Oh, yeah. That is the other way I would improve this show. Just fundamentally is that everyone involved will be adults.
Yeah.
Because we try not to think about the fact that people in the show are children. Because they're not really characterized that way.
At all.
The only one who really looks like a child is Ketra.
Yeah.
Ketra looks young. But everybody else, like... just pretend they're adults. Like, their characters are like adults, they talk like adults.
Mm-hmm.
It's much less... There are scenes in this show that are uncomfortable if you remember that everyone involved is a child.
Yeah. God. Yeah.
So, just pretend they're adults.
So, we go to episode 37, we have the same blurb that hopefully we'll get rid of soon.
Same bad blurb.
Narrated
But it's really relevant to this. Well, the blurb isn't because the blurb is wrong, but a better written blurb would be extremely relevant to this episode. The subject matter of the blurb is what this episode is about.
Yes, because Zex burns in to try to save the Saint Kingdom and runs into Hiro, who is still engaging in an endless fight against wave upon wave
of mobile dolls.
And just shredding them.
You have to believe that he can destroy them faster than they can build them. He destroys them really quickly. Surely they're not produced that fast. He is
cutting them down so rapidly.
But notably, his Epion system is like strategic objective failing or whatever.
He says, strategic advantage like gone or something like that.
Yeah, and it's also like he is like vocalizing the Epion's system. Like it's not just like what it's doing, but it's like its assessment of the situation.
Yeah,
he's clearly been in the thing too long. Like, because notably, it's also night now. Right?
Yeah.
He has been in battle for a while.
Yeah, he's been in a fight.
we also skipped over in that previous battle where he runs off from the lines and just charges the enemy. And Noin is like, get back in formation. And
Hero mutters to himself.
Hero's like, if I stay with you, no one will be able to stop me. Right?
Yeah. He doesn't broadcast that, but he does say it to himself.
He says it to himself. It's very, like, that's what you have to... With a system like this, what you have to do is just... If it's going to decide everything around you is your enemy, the answer is to be surrounded by enemies. Mm-hmm. Right? Just get away from all your allies. And it's working. He's doing... he doesn't win the battle. Weirdly, this is the other problem, is I don't understand how Epion and Sandrock failed to win that battle. Because at no point are they shown to be anything other than absolutely kicking ass.
Yeah. And the Magwanaut Corps is even getting kills in rapidly, too.
And so are the flying... Noin is getting kills, too. It's so weird that they're losing.
Yeah.
It is utterly unclear what way they lost.
Yeah, the amount of forces that the enemy throws at them.
Well, they just keep throwing more dudes at them, which is fair.
Yeah, but it's like... There has to be a give somewhere. Because Hiro, over the space of a few hours, wipes out an entire air division.
Yeah. This is mentioned in the
That's a lot. Like, I don't think you...
And they are, like, send in 2 more land divisions.
Yeah,
right, but sure.
But it's also, like, that's a lot. That's a lot of material.
Yeah, but it's unclear how the enemy forces accomplished anything strategically.
Right.
Under those conditions, right? Yeah. It's not like... Obviously, wars are not won by just killing all the enemies, right? You would absolutely be in a situation where, yes, your one super unit is killing everything, but strategic objectives are lost.
Yeah.
But that's not shown in any way.
Right. That's not shown in any way. And you have not just one, but 2...
I guess Hero says it, but that's not the same thing.
But you have 2 super units, and you have a multitude of much more competent regular units.
Well, and this is fixable, like... If we saw that, like, they were able to kill loads of dudes, but even more dudes could, like, go around them or something. Yeah. Right? Because Epion can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
Sandrock can't be everywhere.
Even the Magwanaut Corps can't be everywhere. There's only, like, 40 dudes.
It's a big kingdom. Like, you have, like, 43 units that are capable of killing things. Sure.
Yeah. And you have a lot of other dudes, but they all died, like, 5 minutes into the battle.
Yeah, sure did. But I don't understand... how they lost. Other than just... Relina decided they lost.
Mm-hmm. It's really weird.
Despite the fact that, again, this will come up when the commander is talking about, like, he wiped out an entire air division, send in 2 more land divisions. Mm-hmm. He says something like, the enemy unit is like, assessed to be 10 times normal strength. And it's like...
that's a different guy, but yeah.
Yeah, how do you know that? Because it's not like... we've seen how much it takes to take down and it's 10 times the normal amount. No. This unit has never been struck by enemy fire.
Yeah.
Right? And it has plowed through your troops like a scythe through chaff.
Yeah.
Right? You have no idea how strong it is because you have not experienced its limit. Right? No. So it's just totally... nonsense. It's the plot getting in the way of the animation and vice versa, right? The animation could have shown us ways that they lost. I can totally believe that they lost here, but the animation didn't show us that.
No, it didn't.
Anyway, he's been doom-guying through mobile dolls.
After he finishes wiping out the remainder of that air division, he sees the bright light of Zex coming down.
Yeah, burning through the atmosphere.
And is like...
Which is not how atmospheric entry works, by the way. He wasn't in orbit. He wasn't at orbital velocity. There's no fire.
Everyone
thinks every time you enter from space there's fire. And there's only fire because you were at orbital velocity. If you just fly in... You don't light on fire when you fall, friends.
Yeah.
You light on fire when you're going really, really fast to stay in orbit and have to decelerate.
Because this is a discussion that's cropped up with the manhole cover, the 2,000-pound manhole cover that we launched into space.
Oh, yeah.
Mach fuck.
Yes.
And whether or not it burned up before it even hit space.
Correct. Because, again, you absolutely... On the way that we do orbital reentry, you got a heat shield and fire. Everybody knows this. Yeah. Space shuttles explode, etc. But but that's not... When these people do space, that shouldn't happen anymore.
Yeah.
Because they're not
doing it the
velocity.
same way. Yeah.
The reason you get the fire is not from the falling, it's from the... I guess maybe he is going... He might be going faster than falling. He is burning his engines trying to get there as fast as possible.
Yeah.
So, never mind. Criticism withdrawn. I'll allow it. He is going so fast he's lighting the atmosphere on fire.
Yeah. Cool.
We'll allow it.
I mean, Wing Zero, if any...
Zero, it would be Wing Zero. Wing Zero goes... in this one instance only, can go so fast it lights the atmosphere on fire.
Yeah.
Again, that's clearly not why they animated it that way. They animated it that way because he's coming from space.
Yeah.
But yes.
Anyway, Zek sees the Epion and is like, the heck is that thing?
Yeah.
Well, it must be an enemy, though. I better fight it.
Which is, I mean, that's the Zero system talking.
Yeah.
So I had a thought about this scene that I think would significantly improve it, and I wish they'd done it. Because I wish that they had Zex know that Treize was building the Epion, so that when he shows up in this scene, he assumes that the Epion is being piloted by Treize.
Yeah.
Which would give very credible reason for why he thinks it's an enemy.
Yeah, because...
Right? That would be... Oh, that's Treize. He's clearly attacking the Saint Kingdom. I have to fight him.
Yeah.
Right? And then, of course, once they start engaging in combat, both their Zero systems just go...
I could even visualize the line they would give him in that scenario, which is something along the lines of, I see. Treize is making his move at last.
Yeah.
And then
Treize has revealed the Epion.
Yeah. And then...
The Romefeller Foundation has yet to unleash its deadliest servant. But yeah, I mean that, or he would, again, just burn in at a speed, lighting the atmosphere on fire, yelling, Kushranada!
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, and as we've seen from the Zero system, once somebody attacks you once, the Zero system goes, that person's my enemy regardless of who they turn out to be. Right? Like, no amount of talking to them at that point matters.
Yeah. They fight. And notably, Hiro says...
They do talk to each other.
Yeah, Hiro says something and...
Because he does know it's Hiro.
Yeah.
He finds out almost immediately that it's Hiro. Unfortunately. I think the scene would be better if he didn't.
Yeah. And they have, like, the briefest of brief pre-fight... Well, not even pre-fight, during, like, early fight chats of, like, why are we fighting then? And Hiro says, ask the Zero system.
Yeah, well, Zek says, are you my enemy? And Hiro says, ask Wing Zero.
Yeah. And then Wing Zero says the exact same enemy parameters that Hiro set at the very... when he first piloted it.
Using established enemy parameters.
Yeah.
Everyone who attacks me. Well, it attacked me.
Yeah. They fight.
It's not much of a fight, to be honest.
No. We cut to Relina under house arrest.
Sure do.
And Duke Dermail comes in... Because, Relina's, like, lost in thought.
She's offered tea.
Yeah, and she kind of doesn't even say anything.
They ask if she takes milk and sugar in her tea. We do not get an answer on Relina's tea preferences.
Yeah.
Biggest mistake of the show.
Yeah, that's character building.
Character. I need to know how Relina likes her tea. And Duke Dermail comes in and is like, you really should try this tea. It's quite good. It's from my personal garden. Well, he says, like, you might not like it, but at least give it a try.
Just to see if you do.
Which is kind of... Again, this is where some of the writing is really good.
Yeah.
Because that is, like, a parallel to what he is going to actually present her in this scene. Of, like, maybe you should try a fascist government. You might like it.
Because he is asking Relina to be the representative of the Romefeller Foundation.
Yeah, be our figurehead.
And she's like, that would betray all the people who, like, supported me up to now. And
he's
Duke
like,
Dermail's like, yes, but we've already convinced the populace that we defeated the Saint Kingdom for your own ideals' protection
and for your safety. Like, he's like, yeah, you're not a prisoner. You're in, like, protective custody.
And she's like, what? And he's like, yeah, that's what we sold the public. Isn't it great?
Yeah. Oh, man, I control the media. Weird.
Yeah. It's almost like the Romefeller Foundation controls the media.
Which I assume is still, like, Hirsch. Because,
yeah,
you know, that's a very Hirsch media thing.
Yeah, it is.
for anyone who knows their history. But yeah, they sort of have this conversation. It's mostly just Duke Normal talking and being evil. He even does this big, like, arm spread in front of the window. He's just evil.
Yeah, he's like, you will become our new face, and it will lead to the total pacifism that you so desire.
Yeah,
what
she's
could
like,
be better?
That's not really peace. She says, like, that's not peace, that's dominion. Or something.
And
or
he's
domination.
And he goes, yes, but it's the same thing.
Right, and he's like, it's kind of the same idea, really.
The only difference is instead of the people living in harmony, we would make them live in the mines. Right. He doesn't say it outright, but...
He doesn't say outright that, the population will live in the mines, but that's what he would like. What Duke Dermail would really like is for there to be Duke Dermail and then a bunch of people to dig.
There are two types of people on this planet, Relina. People who are the 1% like us, and the ones who dig.
I don't even think he really wants other 1%ers. No. I think if Duke Dermail were to get his way and win, he would slowly eliminate the rest of the Romer Foundation. And it would literally be, there are two types of people in the world, Duke Dermail and those who dig.
And you dig.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Anyhow, we go back to the fight for a brief moment. Mm-hmm. And then we go to Tuberov plotting.
Sure is.
Oh, wait, actually, there's one important thing that happens in the fight, which is that...
Oh, is this the end of the fight?
Yeah.
They kind of get locked in combat, and then, like, both of their predictive systems, like, sit there and try to out-predict each other's predictions to the point that they just, like, fry themselves.
Yeah. You see, like, steam.
Yeah, like, literally, like, steam comes out of them.
Yeah, steam vents from their heads.
You can, like, smell the gears melting.
Yeah, steam vents from their head. You can smell the, like, circuitry.
Yeah.
The burnt computer smell.
Yeah.
And then they both...
The blue smoke. The blue smoke is released from the Zero system.
Yeah, and then both pilots kind of fall out of their mags.
Yeah.
Well, Wing Zero, of course, must seek the water.
Wing Zero, it falls out a cliff.
Yeah, it, like, kind of takes a step back, the back, like, on a weak part of the cliff, falls backward, and then hits the edge of the water, and is like, I have found the water.
Look, it's actually a slightly smarter Zero system. It knew it needed to cool itself off, right?
So it dunked
its head in water.
Yeah. I mean, I just think from all the times that Wing Gundam has been, dunked in water, it just feels that that's its natural habitat, and it needs to seek...
From the sea you come, from the sea, to the sea you shall return.
It seeks the depths every time it has a big fight.
But this isn't Gundam Wing. Gundam Wing is the one that was all under the water. This is Wing Zero, who has never encountered water before in its existence. It's been a space.
Space is just a giant ocean, Lon.
This is the first time Wing Zero has encountered water. That's actually why it did it. It was like, this is the one chance I'm going to get. I've always wanted to see the sea.
It's synced with Hiro, who was the one who put Wing Gundam in the water all those times.
It's true. It is appropriated the memories of water from...
Yeah. And that won't be the last time either.
No, it won't. But...
if I would have known that it happened this often, I would have made a
counting how many times it happens. Yeah, but no, this scene is actually really cool. The two, like, analytical engines trying to out-predict each other and predicting each other's predictions back and forth until they both just melt is really cool.
And putting immense strain on the pilots, too.
Yes, because it really, like, uses part of your brain power to do this or something.
Zex and Hiro, well, it's not so much using the brain power, it's that they're getting information overload.
Yeah, because it, like, doesn't filter. You would think it would do all the analysis and then feed you the result.
Yeah.
It does not do that. It just feeds you all the raw data for some reason.
Yeah, and then they both fall out of their mechs.
Could make this system infinitely safer just by having it only feed the output.
Well, and Zex even tries to keep continuing on for like a half second because he draws his gun and is pointing and he's like, oh god,
which is also a cool part that we don't see often enough about this, is that it has like this after effect on you even after you get out of it, where you still kind of are trying to fight people.
Yeah.
Because Kiro does too, where they have this conversation, he's like, Epion told me that you're my enemy and I don't think it's wrong.
Mm-hmm. So we cut to Tuberov, who's planning to leave the battleship to go do something else.
We don't know what he's planning to do because he doesn't get there.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, because what happens is he gets on his shuttle, and notably, as he's walking away...
It's funny, because I don't know why. I can't tell you why this was the case, but as soon as this scene started, I got immediate, he's about to be betrayed vibes.
Yeah.
There's nothing that really goes on that would indicate that. I can tell you. Just a man getting on a shuttle in this manner...
I can tell you what it is. It's that, but it's the getting on the shuttle sequence does kind of... We've seen it happen in a lot of media.
I was just saying I was like, this scene is just animated in such a way that it's either this shuttle explodes or he is betrayed or something.
There's also some other subtle signs, because I got the same vibes too, and I know exactly what gave me those vibes, because I knew exactly what scene we were in as soon as I saw one thing, which is the guy he leaves in charge of the project as he's leaving the command center at the very beginning of the scene. Kind of turns and smirks as Tubarov is leaving the room.
Yeah, sure.
And I'm like, oh, that's the I have betrayed you and you will soon find out. Smirk.
Yeah, so it's that. I think it's also just you don't include scenes because it's a scene of just someone doing a routine transit somewhere. Mm-hmm. You do not include scenes of routine transit unless something happens. And
right.
The thing that happens is either that they get killed or betrayed. Right, that's just how scenes like that work. If you see someone flying somewhere peacefully in a plane, that plane is going to explode, or it's the classic helicopters don't survive action flicks. Right?
Yeah,
right. And so it's just very the instant the scene starts, you're he's being betrayed in this scene.
Yeah, and he gets in the shuttle. They're leaving. As they're leaving, he says something offhand to the pilot.
Yeah,
about where they're going and what
he gives him an order, and he's like, "No, we're not taking an order from you anymore."
And he goes, "What? Why not?" And he goes, "Well, we're rebelling against you, of course."
And pulls a gun on him.
Yeah.
And Tubarov is like, "Well, shit."
Yeah. And because the shuttle doesn't even leave. That's right.
Yeah.
And
undocks, but
yeah,
don't leave. They just redock in.
Yeah. The White Fang is revealed.
Yeah, their faction is called the White Fang.
It's led by a dude who we know his name, but he hasn't mentioned his name yet.
Correct.
It's an old dude in a blue vest.
Yeah.
And jeans.
Mm-hmm.
He looks like he got back from a hiking trip in the Rockies.
He sure does. He might have.
He ripped his style from a John Denver music video.
More or less, yes.
And these people are mostly former Trey's faction. But they're...
Well, I guess that's the other important piece of information in Tubarov's betrayal scene is he's like, oh, I mean, you're the Trey's faction. And the guy is like, yeah, more like disgruntled colonists.
Well, no, because that guy literally... Because he asks, who are you people? And the guy goes, well, we used to be known as the Trey's faction.
We used to be Trey's faction, but now we're just colonial rebels.
Yeah, and he goes... He goes, well, why don't you just kill me? And
he's like, no, we're going to make you, publicly surrender.
We're gonna make you publicly
and then the colonies will demand your execution, and then we'll kill you.
Yeah, and he goes, well, you're just like Oz, trying to get the.
He says, you're just like us. And the guy goes, yeah, we are.
Not just like us, just like Oz.
Yeah,
he literally says, this is like Oz standard operating procedure, basically, and they're like, yeah, we're former Oz.
Yeah, we're Oz. Yeah,
this is what. Yes, correct.
Yeah. I don't know. Again, competent writing. I like that bit, right? Because it's the villain trying to do the
mm-hmm.
Oh, you're betraying your morals. It's like, no, I'm not. What are you talking about?
No.
Yeah, of course I'm doing this. I have no problem with this.
Who do you think I've been working for until now?
Right. It's not the methods. I'm not rebelling against the methods here. I'm rebelling against you.
Yeah, pretty much. That's basically what they say. And Tubarov manages to effect an escape by shoulder-checking one dude into the other.
Shoulder-checking one dude into another, and then,
running for a door.
So, this is, again, if you ever have a gun on someone and are holding them at gunpoint, when they make a sudden move, shoot them. Don't wait and see what their sudden move is. That's not how you hold a person at gunpoint.
Well, and there's also, almost every armed force on the planet has a standard operating procedure for when you are holding someone at gunpoint. And one of the key things is that you maintain distance because you have a ranged weapon and they don't.
Well, but even if you're not able to do that, like, it's still just like, if you're going to threaten a person with a gun, you also need to pull the trigger.
Yeah, you need to be willing to exercise that threat.
Yeah, and then like this guy does shoot, but he doesn't shoot him until he's like down the hallway at the door, and he misses
the door. Yeah. Well, he like clips him in the shoulder, I think.
It's irrelevant whether or not he hits it. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't end up mattering. No.
But it is just very like. It's both sides, right? When someone is holding you at gunpoint, or you are threatened in some way, you avoid making sudden moves because they will shoot you if you do, right? And similarly, you, as the person holding the gun, need to shoot people who make sudden moves because that sudden move might be a move to disable your gun, right? And that risk is not a risk you should take.
Correct. And
bad gunpoint holding.
Anyway, 0 out of 10. So he gets to this back room.
Yeah.
And he has a terminal
that has, like,
open.
A computer.
Like a very small...
It appears to have one purpose, and one purpose only.
Which is to activate the mobile dolls.
Yeah.
And set them to kill mode.
Correct.
So Tuberov, sets all the Virgos to kill. And they
Which they do.
They come up out of these little pop-up hangars.
Which are cool.
Yeah, which are cool.
We've seen them previously. Gundams came out of them. Those we need.
Yeah.
They will fix it up.
Notably, they named the revolution that they're doing. It's the Artemis Revolution.
Yeah.
It will never be named as such again, I don't think, after this point.
Is it Artemis?
Yeah, they say this is the beginning of the Artemis Revolution or something like that. Never brought up again. And yeah, Wu Fei is there fighting.
Wu Fei shows up.
He just fights everyone. He fights the White Fang. He fights.
Well, he declares. It's funny because Wu Fei is like suffering under the effects of the Zero System, despite not having a Zero System.
Yeah.
He just thinks the Zero System doesn't have to tell him everyone is his enemy. He just already feels that way.
Yeah.
Right. But he declares that he's going to kill. What is it? Everyone who wants to fight in space?
And who is evil.
Yeah, everyone who is evil and wants to fight in space. Those are his criteria. And okay.
That's
it's very broad. Like
it's a
the
very
first one, sure,
list.
Kill everyone who's evil. I'll allow that as a philosophy. Then everyone who wants to fight in space. 1, why limit it to in space? 2, wanting to fight's not always bad. I mean, this show has a problem with that, though, right? Of like, no. Desire to fight is always bad, right? It's like, no, sometimes you can like fight for a good thing. It's okay.
Yeah.
Like
causes are important.
Yeah.
Anyway, this all happens. Tuberov dies, laughing maniacally as he does the "I am invincible."
He does. He like goes nuts. He's like, my mobile dolls will destroy them all. Like,
and then it will just be me and my mobile dolls.
Yeah. I think the reason because we talked about like why was the first thing the rebels did not secure the mobile doll control system? And you brought up like, oh, this is like a backdoor. Right, to take control of them
because
remotely.
Tuberov designed and built.
Because it's in this tiny little room,
yeah.
And Tuberov built them. It makes sense that he has it. I think he built this to betray Duke Dermail.
I think you're right.
I think he was all bad guys do that, right?
Yeah.
I think his intention was that this was one day going to betray Duke Dermail, right? He was going to take control of the mobile dolls, and
he was going to do his own military coup with the mobile dolls.
Yeah,
almost certainly.
Like, that's definitely what this was for. And then he just had to use it early. But yeah, he's like, I have enacted my plan, I will rule the world. As the fight on the, like, surface is, like, causing the room he's in to, like, buckle and crack. Well,
the fight on the surface, because there's the fight on the surface between the White Fang and the Virgos.
Yeah.
Wu Fei is in the base. He's fighting in, like,
he's like in a tunnel.
Below, it turns out, like, below... Tuberov.
Yeah. But so like this room is like shaking and cracking. There's like ceiling falling in. Which also, you're in space. Wouldn't you lose atmosphere pretty quickly with like those crack holes?
You would think.
I don't know. I mean,
maybe he's pretty deep into the.
Well, and also it takes a long time to lose atmosphere, right? If it's connected to the atmosphere system of the rest of the base, it'll take one.
Yeah,
sure. Whatever. But anyway, yeah, and then a stray shot just goes straight through the room and vaporizes it
as he's laughing maniacally.
As he literally goes like, "I'm invincible," and then is vaporized.
Literal, actually, he just shouts that at the top of his lungs, "I'm invincible," and then is vaporized.
Like Boris from GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Except instead of an exploding pen, it's a laser shot.
Mm-hmm. We can presume from Wu Fei. Wu Fei's just firing indiscriminately in this.
I think we see it from Wu Fei.
Yeah.
Because we see the shot go off and then we see him be vaporized. I think it's one of Wu Fei's.
Yeah, because it's like Wu Fei's scorpion tail thing.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's Wu Fei's scorpion tail thing. It doesn't even look like it's aimed at an enemy.
No, it's aimed at the ceiling.
I think he knows Tuberov is there.
Probably.
He just instinctually knows, oh, there's a guy there to kill.
Yeah. I mean, that would make sense for Wu Fei.
It would. Maybe he does have a zero system. It just doesn't come up because it doesn't make him any crazier than he already is.
He's already crazy.
He's had a zero system the whole time.
Yeah, his mech was the only one equipped with the zero system the whole time.
Because also Master O just thought it was fine.
Yeah, it's like, this kid's already fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and our whole colony is bonkers.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, our whole colony is willing to blow itself up.
And that's we still don't know that. That one group of people was willing to blow their colony up.
That's fair.
For all we know, everyone else would have been like,
I mean,
please
it'll
don't blow
later
us
be
up.
elucidated. They're willing to do even worse shit with that colony, but...
It's true.
But
yeah. Man.
So then we cut to Hiro and Zex having a conversation because their mechs are still cooling down.
Yes, they are.
And they've kind of come off of the combat high in the zero system hangover.
Yeah, and there's more enemies coming at them, and they're like, "All right, well, we don't like each other, but
yeah,
you want to fight Romefeller? Yeah, I want to fight Romefeller.
All right, let's fight Romefeller.
All right, let's fight Romefeller."
And then Hiro's basically,
switch mechs with me.
Yeah, Hiro's like, "I'm taking the Wing Zero," and then
well, he just gives Zex the helmet for Epion.
And Zex is like, why? And he's
why are you giving me this? And he's like,
Trey's designed this.
Yeah, Trey's designed this. And Zex is like, oh.
I would have also, if I were Hiro, added, and I'm also, way more familiar with Wing Zero's weapons package.
I mean, it doesn't seem to have mattered for his combat effectiveness.
I mean, it doesn't, but...
But
it's a comfort thing.
I would have added... Epion was created by a madman explicitly to elucidate a philosophy. At least Wing Zero was only built to win combat.
Yeah.
Christ.
Mm-hmm.
Also, one of them has, a colony killer weapon, and the other doesn't.
Yeah.
So if I was Hiro, and I don't really like or trust Zex, I would trade him for the one with the colony killer weapon.
That's true, yes.
Because Epion, for all the power that Epion has in combat, neither that whip nor that sword is destroying a space colony.
No, and
it's
it doesn't.
Just
and
not.
It has no ranged weapons.
Yeah, it's really fast. It functionally is a ranged weapon in how fast it is, right? Because it can get to you and hit you before your shot goes off.
Yeah, but it can't one-shot a colony.
It doesn't have devastating AoE weapons, right? Yeah. Is my point.
Then we end with Relina kind of mulling things over, and then
looking out a window, and then the dawn rises on her face.
And then she turns to one of the servants and goes, "Get Duke Dermail. I will accept his proposition and become the new representative of the Romefeller Foundation." And that's the end of the episode. Oh boy.
Wouldn't it be cool if Relina just turned evil here?
That would be really good. Is this whole...
And got some kind of evil queen outfit?
Yeah, her uniform, but in evil colors.
Oh, see, I was thinking the fancy diplomatic uniform, but in evil colors with more spikes, right?
Yeah. Or she has a spikier hair tie thing.
Oh yeah, she could do her hair in she could grow weird spiky eyebrows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear a spiky crown because they want to make her they want to make her Queen Relina basically.
Basically, yeah. Spiky crown would do it.
And then she could, do the Jarl sit on a throne.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Why didn't they do that? That would have been way cooler.
Evil Relina would have been really cool.
Yeah.
Even if she was just faking it, right?
Yeah. Well, anyway, that's the end of episode 37. Pick up next episode with Gundam Wing episodes 38 and 39.
We sure will.
And I'm seeing the light at the end of this very, very long tunnel.
This is what, 49 episodes?
Yep, 49 episodes. We're 10 episodes off after next recording.
Okay, close.
Getting there. Well, and then we have Endless Waltz, which we'll get into.
I can spend my Thursday nights watching good shows.
Yeah. All right. Until next time, peace.
See ya.